The reality TV world is reeling from a scandal that no one saw coming. And this time, it's personal. Kirk Frost, long known for his unpredictable behavior on Love and Hip Hop, has reportedly crossed a line that has shocked even his closest allies. According to explosive new claims, Kirk lost complete control on set after watching a private, never-before-seen video featuring none other than his wife Rasheeda and fellow cast member Yung Joc. Yes, you heard that right, a private video so intense, so unexpected, that it triggered an emotional meltdown in front of the entire production crew. Sources close to the show say Kirk was calm one moment, but the next he was storming across the set, yelling, accusing, and confronting everyone in sight. And the alleged video, it's being described as intimate, inappropriate, and a betrayal caught on camera. What was really in that video? Why was Kirk the last to know? And more importantly, was Rasheeda hiding something all along? Fans are stunned, the cast is divided, and behind the scenes tempers are flaring like never before. This isn't just a fight, it's a bombshell unraveling the core of a reality TV empire. And trust us, it's only the beginning. It all started with whispers on set, the type of whispers that grow louder with each passing day until they can't be ignored. Kirk Frost had been unusually quiet for weeks, barely making eye contact with anyone, especially not Rasheeda or Yung Joc. Something was off. Everyone felt that the tension was thick enough to cut. With the knife, crew members exchanged nervous glances during shoots, while cast members traded carefully around Kirk, unsure what version of him they'd encountered that day. The truth finally exploded on a Tuesday afternoon during what was supposed to be a routine filming segment. Kirk walked in late, eyes heavy with the storm that had clearly been brewing long before he stepped on set. He wasn't talking, he wasn't joking, he was just watching, his gaze locked on Rasheeda from across the room. And she immediately knew something wasn't right, but she couldn't have guessed what was coming next. Rumors say Kirk had been handed a flash drive 2 nights before. No one knows who gave it to him. Some say it was a former crew member fired a few weeks ago. Others claimed it was slipped under his dressing room door. What matters is what was on it, a video file titled "Simply Play Me." Kirk did, and what he saw reportedly sent him into emotional freefall. The video, according to insiders, showed Rasheeda and Yung Joc in a hotel room. The footage wasn't professionally shot, more like a phone camera, shaky and raw. And while it wasn't explicit in the traditional sense, it was enough to destroy trust. The two were laughing, drinking, sitting way too close. Joc had his hand on her leg. They were talking like no one was watching. And maybe at the time, no one was, but now Kirk had watched it over and over. And it was all he could think about on set. Kirk exploded. Cameras were rolling. The sound team picked up every word. Kirk slammed the chair into the wall and shouted, "So this is what you all been doing behind my back." Rasheeda froze. Joc stepped forward, trying to calm things down, but Kirk wasn't hearing any of it. "Don't walk up on me," Kirk warned, eyes locked with fury. Joc, caught off guard, hesitated. "Kirk, man, you got it all wrong." He tried, but Kirk cut him off. "Nah, I saw it, both of y'all laughing it up, drinking like y'all ain't got nothing to hide. Her legs all over you like it's a damn date night." Kirk's voice cracked. It wasn't just anger, it was heartbreak, betrayal, confusion. And everyone watching could feel it. Rasheeda's voice trembled as she stepped toward him. "You don't know the whole story, Kirk," she said quietly. "That video ain't what it looks like." But Kirk wasn't having it. "Then tell me what it is, 'cause from where I'm standing, it looks like you forgot you were married." Producers tried stepping and urging the cameras to cut, but Kirk pushed past them. "Nah, don't cut nothing. Let the world see this. Let them see what happens when you trust the wrong people." The crew was stunned. The room was silent except for Kirk's heavy breathing. The energy shifted entirely. It wasn't just a fight anymore. It was a breakdown. Rasheeda stood there, silent, tears beginning to fall. Joc, uncomfortable and clearly rattled, looked down, avoiding eye contact with anyone. What made it worse was the reaction on social media. Someone on set leaked a blurry still image from the alleged video, just enough to fuel speculation. Fans were in a frenzy. Timelines flooded with hashtags like #Rasheeda betrayed Kurt and #Jocandra exposed. People were picking sides before even knowing the full story, and that only added fuel to Kirk's already burning fire. Later that evening, in a private green room, Kirk sat alone, slouched on the couch, his head in his hands. A producer quietly entered, trying to get a statement. Kirk looked up, eyes red, and whispered, "How long you think she's been lying to me?" The question wasn't directed at anyone, maybe not even meant to be answered. It just hung in the air. Meanwhile, Rasheeda was outside in her car, refusing to leave until someone told her what Kirk had seen exactly. If he saw something, then let me see it too, she snapped at a staffer. But no one had the drive. Kirk hadn't shown it to anyone else. The only proof was what he described, and the image now circulating online. Yang tried to do damage control. He pulled aside a producer and insisted nothing happened. Man, that night was just after a club appearance. We were all staying at the same hotel. She came by for like 10 minutes. We talked, that's it. But no one was really listening. Once the image leaked, perception became reality, and perception was not in their favor. Men's who had been on the sidelines up to this point couldn't hold his tongue any longer during a confessional shoot. He looked straight into the camera and said, "Kurt been through a lot. But this right here, I can't blame him for snapping. If it was me, and I saw my wife all cozy with another man, even if it was innocent, nah, I'd lose my mind too." His words echoed what many fans were already thinking. Inside the show's private group chat, chaos erupted. Some cast members sided with Rasheeda, saying Kirk was overreacting. Others backed Kirk, saying he had every right to feel betrayed. Even Mimi chimed in, writing, "You'll need to chill. Remember, cameras don't always tell the full truth. We've all been edited dirty." But Kirk wasn't thinking about editing. He was thinking about trust, about loyalty, about the years he poured into this marriage, only to be blindsided by a few minutes of shaky footage. He hadn't even confronted Rasheeda in private yet. It all happened in public, in front of cameras, in front of friends, in front of strangers. And now he didn't know how to take any of it back. Just when the set was finally calming down, someone mentioned that Rasheeda hadn't gone home the night before. Kirk's head snapped up. Will she go then? No one had him answer, but the implication was clear. The room went silent again. Kirk stood up, grabbed his jacket, and walked out without a word. Outside, the cameras kept rolling. And that's where the real story begins. As Kirk stormed off the set, the crew was left in shock. No one moved, no one knew what to do. Rasheeda, still sitting in her car outside, tried to collect her thoughts. Her mind raced through everything, every moment with Kirk, every interaction with Joc, and now the sudden eruption of chaos. Was it really just a misunderstanding? Could it be salvaged? But no matter how hard she tried to convince herself that things weren't as bad as they seemed, the reality hit her like a ton of bricks. Kirk had seen that video, and once something was out in the open like that, could it ever be truly erased? Back inside, the rest of the cast and crew began talking amongst themselves. Whispers grew louder, rumors spread like wildfire. Did Kirk really think they were, together? One crew member asked nervously, glancing around. Is there something we didn't know about? Another responded, clearly feeling uncomfortable with the tension in the air. At this point, there was no denying it. Whatever the truth was behind the video, Kirk was in no state to talk, and so the producers decided to call an emergency meeting. But who would take the lead on damage control, Rasheeda Joc, or was it up to Kirk to own up to his own actions? Rasheeda finally gathered enough strength to call Kirk. Her hand shook as she dialed the number. It rang and rang, until finally Kirk picked up his voice, strained. "Kirk, listen to me," Rasheeda started, her voice cracking. "I never meant to hurt you that night. Don't talk to me about that night." Rasheeda. Kirk's voice was barely above a whisper, but the anger was palpable. "You want to tell me nothing happened? You want to tell me I'm crazy for thinking that something was off? I saw it with my own eyes. Don't act like I'm the fool here." Rasheeda took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. "I wasn't hiding anything, Kirk. You need to understand that I married you, that I gave everything to this relationship, and you go behind my back causing up with my friend. What was I supposed to think? That's the part you don't get. You just want to play it off like it's nothing." The line went dead. Rasheeda sank into her seat, staring out the window, her heart racing. The silence after that phone call was deafening. It was clear that Kirk's mind was made up. The trust between them had been shattered. But how can she even begin to explain the situation to him? Now how can she make him see that it wasn't what it seemed? Back on set, things were spiraling out of control. The producers had called an emergency meeting, but it wasn't clear who was going to take the lead. Was it going to be Kirk, owning up to his explosion, or would Rasheeda have to come forward with her own version of events? Whatever happened, one thing was clear: this wasn't just about a video anymore. It was about a marriage on the brink of falling apart, and no one knew how to put it back together. Meanwhile, Joc was trying his best to avoid the media frenzy. He knew he had to be careful. One wrong move, and his career could be over. But despite his efforts to lay low, the rumors and accusations continued to grow. Fans started picking sides, some defending Joc, others accusing him of betraying Kirk in the worst possible way. And Joc, he just wanted to escape the madness. But how could he when the world was watching and waiting for him to mess up? Then came a call that would change everything. Men's a close friend of Kirk had finally weighed in on the situation. He'd seen the video too, but what shocked everyone was the message he sent to Kirk. Yo Kirk, man up. Manx texted, I know this situation sucks, but you can't keep running from it. You got to talk to her. She's your wife and Jack. I've known him long enough to tell you that he wouldn't do anything to cross that line. Kirk's emotions were still running high. But Mensa's words hit him in a way he wasn't expecting. Maybe he wasn't seeing the whole picture. Maybe he'd been too quick to judge. But with his pride on the line, could he really go back and admit that he had made a mistake? The truth was Kirk didn't know. But what he didn't know was this: his life, his marriage, his reputation were all hanging by a thread. And with every passing second, that thread was getting thinner. The producers knew that the situation had reached a boiling point. If they didn't act fast, the show could collapse under the weight of this scandal. But how could they move forward when the stars themselves were in such disarray? Meanwhile, Rasheeda and Yung had been keeping their distance from one another, not because they didn't care, but because they understood how damaging their connection could be for both of them. Neither of them wanted to fan the flames, but the media didn't give them a choice. Headlines began popping up across every gossip site. Rasheeda caught on camera with Yung Joc in compromising position. One screamed, another asked, did Kirk Frost's outburst have anything to do with Rasheeda's infidelity? And the comment section, it was a war zone. Fans from both sides dug in deep, accusing, defending, pointing fingers at each other. It wasn't just the show that was in danger, it was their careers, their futures, their entire lives. Back at the production studio, the atmosphere was tense. Everyone knew the next move was critical, but no one had the courage to make it. The lines had been drawn, and the damage was done. The real question was, could anything fix it now? Kirk's outburst had set everything in motion, but it wasn't over. It had only just begun. As the day dragged on, the producers tried to piece together a plan. They knew that bringing Kirk and Rasheeda together for a private conversation was a must, but would they be able to salvage anything from the wreckage of their shattered relationship? And what about Joc? Would the cast ever accept him again? Or was he now persona non grata? But the biggest question remained unanswered. Who was the real victim here? Was it Kirk, betrayed by the woman he loved, or was it Rasheeda, misunderstood and judged for something that may not have even happened? It was a waiting game, now one that no one could predict. The outcome of the drama was only beginning, and the fallout from this explosive scandal was about to reverberate through every corner of the show. And no one was prepared for what came next. As the days passed, the fallout from Kirk's explosive outburst continued to spiral out of control. The media was relentless, and the constant barrage of rumors and headlines left everyone involved on edge. But it wasn't just Kirk and Rasheeda who were affected. Everyone was feeling the heat. Rasheeda, alone in her home, sat on the couch scrolling through her phone. It felt like the entire world was against her. The comments under the videos and pictures flooded in a mix of shock, judgment, and disbelief. How could she do this to Kirk? One fan commented, I knew she was hiding something. Said another, it was as if her entire life had been reduced to a few seconds of footage, a moment that had been blown way out of proportion. But what really hurt her was the constant barrage of messages from people who thought they knew everything, fans who hadn't even taken the time to understand what was really happening. Everyone was so quick to judge her, but they didn't know the whole story. And that was the most painful part. They didn't know what she had been going through, what she had tried to hide, and why things had turned out the way they did. Meanwhile, Kirk was dealing with his own storm of emotions. At first, he'd have been consumed by anger, convinced that everything he had seen in that video was true. But after Mandisi's message, he was starting to second-guess himself. Could it be that he had jumped to conclusions too quickly? Was it really all a misunderstanding? Late one night, Kirk sat alone in his studio, replaying the video in his mind. He couldn't get it out of his head. He kept seeing the way Joc and Rasheeda interacted. It wasn't the video itself that bothered him, it was the implications, the way she looked at him, the way they laughed together. Could it be that they were hiding something from him, or was he just being paranoid? He picked up his phone and dialed Men's again. It rang for a few moments before he finally picked up. "Yo, Kirk, what's up?" Men's voice came through the phone, calm and steady. "Man, I don't know what to do." Kirk replied, his voice thick with frustration. "I'm losing my mind over this whole thing. I don't know what's real anymore." "Look, Kirk," Men said slowly, "you need to calm down. I get that this is hard, but the first step is to talk to Rasheeda. Get your facts straight before you make any more accusations. You can't fix this if you don't know what you're fixing." Kirk exhaled sharply. "I know you're right, but it's hard, man. I feel betrayed, like everyone's been lying to me. I just don't know if I can trust her anymore." "Trust is everything, bro," DC said. "But if you don't talk to her, you'll never get the answers you need. And remember, it's not just about you two anymore. It's about what's best for your family. You've got to make this right, Kirk." The weight of Men's words hung in the air, and for the first time in days, Kirk felt a spark of hope. Maybe he could fix things with Rasheeda. Maybe, just maybe, there was still a chance to salvage what they had. But that didn't mean it would be easy. The next morning, Kirk took a deep breath and decided to face the storm head-on. He called Rasheeda, his fingers trembling as he hit the dial button. When she answered, he could hear the hesitation in her voice. But she didn't hang up. "Rasheeda, I need to talk to you," Kirk said, his tone softer than it had been before. "We need to clear the air. All of this has gone too far, and I want to know the truth." There was a long pause on the other end of the line before Rasheeda spoke. "I've been trying to get through to you, Kirk," she said quietly. "I never wanted this to happen. None of it, but you keep pushing me away, and I don't know what you expect me to do. I didn't know what to think," Kirk replied, his voice wavering. "But I want to understand. I need you to explain what happened. What's going on with you and Joc? Was there something going on behind my back?" Rasheeda's breath hitched, and for a moment Kirk wasn't sure if she was going to respond, but then she spoke, her voice tinged with sadness. "Kirk, I swear to you, nothing was going on between me and Joc. That video, it's not what it looks like. I was just being friendly, nothing more. You have to believe me." Kirk closed his eyes, his mind reeling with the confusion and pain of everything that had happened. Could he trust her? Could he trust the words she was saying? "I want to believe you, Rasheeda," Kirk said softly. "But you've got to give me something. Tell me the truth, and maybe we can fix this. But if there's something you're hiding, then I need to know." There was another long pause before Rasheeda spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. "Kirk, I'm not hiding anything, but we've got to stop letting the outside world control our lives. We've let this drama get to us for too long, and it's tearing us apart." Kirk took a deep breath. He knew she was right, but was it too late to fix things? Meanwhile, Joc was feeling the heat as well. He had tried to stay out of the spotlight, but the constant media attention was unbearable. Fans were attacking him online, accusing him of betraying Kirk, and his career was on the line. The whispers didn't stop. He couldn't escape the rumors, no matter how much he tried. In a moment of frustration, Joc called up his manager. "I can't keep doing this, Joc," said, his voice tinged with exhaustion. "This is ruining everything. I didn't ask for any of this, but now I'm stuck in the middle of this mess." His manager tried to calm him down. "I get it, Joc, but you've got to lay low right now. Let this blow over. We'll work on damage control, but you've got to stay out of the spotlight for a bit." Joc didn't want to hear it. "How am I supposed to lay low when everyone's watching me? It's not just Kirk's reputation on the line, it's mine too." But despite his frustration, Joc knew he had no choice. The media circus wasn't going to stop, and if he didn't handle this carefully, he could lose everything. Back in the studio, Kirk and Rasheeda's conversation was far from over. Both were on edge, but they both knew they had to make a decision. Was their relationship worth saving? Could they put the past behind them? Or was this the end of the road? And what about Joc? Would he remain in the background, or was his involvement going to cause even more problems for everyone? As Kirk and Rasheeda continued to talk, the future of their marriage hung in the balance. Would they find a way to make things right, or was this the beginning of the end? As the days dragged on, the tension between Kirk and Rasheeda reached a boiling point. The media frenzy showed no signs of slowing down, and every new headline made things worse. The constant rumors and accusations had taken their toll on both of them, and it was clear that something had to give, but neither was willing to back down. Without a fight, Kirk, still reeling from the shock of the video, tried to focus on what was best for his family. But every time he saw a new headline about the video, every time he heard fans bashing Rasheeda, the anger inside him flared up again. He couldn't help it. It was like a fire that he couldn't put out one evening after a particularly heated argument with Rasheeda. Kirk stormed out of the house. He needed space to clear his head as he drove aimlessly through the city. His mind was a whirlwind of emotions. The more he thought about everything that had happened, the more he realized how much he had been affected by the whole situation. But it wasn't just the video that was eating away at him. It was the years of unresolved issues between him and Rasheeda, the moments of neglect, the times they had drifted apart, the times they had ignored each other's needs. All of that had built up. And now it was all spilling out. Meanwhile, Rasha sat alone in their home, her phone silent beside her. She had tried calling Kirk several times, but he hadn't answered. The silence between them was deafening. The arguments, the accusations, it was all becoming too much. She had tried so hard to make things work, but now she wasn't sure if it was even worth it anymore. But just as she was about to give up, Rasheeda's phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. She hesitated before opening it, wondering who could be texting her at this hour. When she finally unlocked the message, her heart skipped the beat. It was a video, and the title read, "Rasheeda's Secret Deal Exposed." With shaking hands, Rasheeda clicked on the video. What she saw shocked her to the core. It was a recording of her meeting with a representative from another network discussing her potential future on a new reality show. The footage was grainy, but the words were crystal clear. "Rasheeda, we can offer you more money, more screen time. You deserve to be in the spotlight. We can make you the star you've always been meant to be." The voice of the producer said in the video. Rasheeda's heart sank as she realized what this meant. She had been keeping this meeting a secret from Kirk. She had been exploring her options because in the back of her mind, she had always wondered if her time on the show was coming to an end. The drama, the fighting, the constant pressure, it was all too much. But now, seeing this video, she knew that the trust between her and Kirk had been shattered. Tears welled up in her eyes as she sat there staring at the screen. She had always tried to be transparent with Kirk, but now everything was falling apart. The secret deal she had been considering had been exposed, and it was only a matter of time before Kirk found out. Her heart ached as she realized that her attempt to take control of her own future might have cost her the one person who meant the most to her. Meanwhile, Kirk, still driving aimlessly, was also confronted with the shock of his phone rang, and when he saw the caller ID, he almost didn't pick up. It was Menz again, the last person he wanted to talk to right now, but he knew he had to answer. Maybe Menz had some advice, maybe not. Either way, he had to talk to someone. "Yo, Kirk, what's up?" Menz said, sounding more concerned than usual. "I'm losing it, man." Kirk said, his voice low and filled with frustration. "This whole thing with Rasheeda, it's tearing me apart. And now I'm seeing stuff online that I don't even know what to believe anymore." Menz was silent for a moment before responding, his voice calm but firm. "Kirk, you've got to stop letting these rumors control you. You've got to talk to Rasheeda. You can't fix anything by running away from it. I don't know if I can trust her anymore." Menz, Kirk replied, his voice cracking. "She's been hiding things from me, and I don't know where this all went wrong. I get it, man." Menz said, his tone softer now, but hun, to stop blaming her for everything. "You're both in this together. Whatever happens, you got to figure it out." Kirk didn't answer right away. His thoughts were all over the place. But Menz's words had hit home. He knew that he couldn't keep running from the truth. He had to face it, no matter how painful it might be. When he got home later that night, Rasheeda was still awake. She was sitting in the living room, her phone in her hand, looking lost in thought. Kirk stood in the doorway for a moment, watching her. It was clear that both of them had been affected by everything that had happened, but neither of them was ready to give up just yet. Finally, Rasheeda looked up and saw him standing there. "Kirk, we need to talk," she said quietly, her voice breaking the silence between them. Kirk nodded and walked over to sit next to her. "I know, Rasheeda. I've been thinking a lot." Rasheeda took a deep breath. "I didn't mean for things to get this bad. I never wanted to hurt you." Kirk looked at her, his eyes filled with confusion and pain. "But you've been keeping things from me. There's so much that you haven't told me. I didn't want to tell you, Kirk. I didn't want to add more fuel to the fire," Rasheeda admitted, her voice shaking. "But I was looking for a way out, a way to control my own future. This whole reality TV world, it's draining. I had to think about what was best for me." Kirk stared at her, the words sinking in. The thought of Rasheeda leaving the show, of them going their separate ways, was a reality he hadn't been prepared for. "So you were thinking about leaving?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Rasheeda nodded, her eyes welling up with tears. I don't know what else to do, Kirk. I can't keep pretending that everything's fine when it's not, but I never wanted it to be like this." The weight of her words hit him like a ton of bricks. Was their marriage truly at the breaking point? Or was this just another hurdle they could overcome? As they sat there, both unsure of what the future held, the media storm outside continued to rage on, and in that moment, both of them realized that their lives and their relationship would never be the same again. The silence between Kirk and Rasheeda was deafening. Neither of them knew how to move forward, how to repair what had been broken, or how to handle the aftermath of the chaos that had consumed their lives. Every day had become a new headline, a fresh controversy, and yet here they were sitting in their home trying to piece together what was left of their marriage. Kirk's mind raced. He had always been a proud man, a man who fought for what he believed in, but now the woman he loved, the woman he had built his life with, was slipping through his fingers. It hurt more than he had ever imagined. But he also knew that he wasn't the only one to blame. Rasheeda had her secrets, her choices, and the video, the one that had triggered this storm, was just the tip of the iceberg. Rasheeda, on the other hand, felt a deep ache in her heart as she looked at Kirk. She had always tried to put their family first. But now it seemed like everything she did, every decision she made, had only made things worse. The idea of leaving the show, taking control of her own future, it seemed so necessary, so right in the moment. But now she wasn't sure if it had been worth the cost. The guilt weighed heavily on her, knowing that the secret she had kept from Kirk had led them here to the edge of destruction. But then again, what choice did she have? The constant pressure of reality TV, the public scrutiny, the never-ending drama, it had been suffocating her. She had always been strong, always played the role of the perfect wife and mother. But deep down, she had felt lost, like her true self was being erased. The deal with the other network had seemed like a way out, a way to reclaim her independence. But now, with Kirk sitting in front of her, she wasn't sure she had made the right choice. "I never meant for this to happen," Rasheeda whispered, her voice trembling as she wiped a tear from her cheek. "I just wanted something more, something for me." Kirk didn't say anything for a long moment. He sat there, his eyes locked on hers, trying to process everything that had happened. His mind was spinning, but one thing was clear: he still loved her despite everything, despite the pain, the betrayal, and the lies. He couldn't let go of the woman who had been his partner for so many years. "I know you didn't mean for any of this," Kirk finally said, his voice quiet but filled with emotion. "But Rasheeda, you're not the only one who's hurting here. You're not the only one who's been lost. I've been dealing with my own demons, my own frustrations. But none of that justifies what happened. I shouldn't have reacted the way I did." Rasheeda looked down, her hands trembling in her lap. "I don't even know who I am anymore, Kirk. I don't know if I'm the woman you fell in love with, or if I'm someone I don't even recognize." Kirk's heart broke as he listened to her words. The woman sitting in front of him, the woman who had always been so strong, so confident, was now broken and unsure of herself. He wanted to reach out to hold her, to remind her of who she was, but he didn't know if he had the right anymore. The video, the betrayal, everything, it had shattered something between them. But could they fix it? The sound of a knock on the door interrupted their conversation. They both looked up, startled. Kirk got up to answer it, unsure of who could be visiting them at this late hour. When he opened the door, he was met with a familiar face. Mendices stepped inside. Without waiting for an invitation, his expression serious. He had been keeping tabs on the situation, hearing about everything that had been unfolding, and he knew that he couldn't stay on the sidelines any longer. "What's going on, Kirk? I've been hearing all sorts of things," Mendes said, his tone more direct than usual. Kirk sighed, running a hand through his hair. "You know what's going on, this whole mess with Rasheeda. With the video, everything's falling apart." Mendes looked over at Rasheeda, who was sitting quietly on the couch, her eyes downcast. "Rasheeda, are you okay?" he asked, his voice softer than it had been with Kirk. "I know things have been crazy, but you can't let this destroy you. You've got to fight for what's yours." Rasheeda met Mendes' gaze, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "I'm not sure if I can fight anymore. I've been fighting for so long, Mendes, but I don't know if I've been fighting for the right reasons." Mendes crossed his arms, looking between the two of them. "Look, I get it, you both are hurting, but you've got a choice here. You can let this tear you apart, or you can put in the work to fix it. But that takes both of you. You can't do it alone." Kirk and Rasheeda exchanged a glance. Both of them were worn out, exhausted from the constant drama, the pressure of living under the spotlight. But they also knew that Mendes was right. If they didn't face this together, they wouldn't have a chance. As Mendes left the room, Kirk sat back down next to Rasheeda. The weight of everything still hung in the air, but for the first time in a long, while they both felt like there was a small glimmer of hope. "Maybe we can fix this," Kirk said quietly, taking Rasheeda's hand in his. "Maybe we just need to start over, take things one step at a time." Rasheeda nodded, her eyes filled with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. "I don't know if we can, Kirk, but I'm willing to try for us, for our family." They sat there in silence, the weight of the decision heavy on their shoulders. The media, the drama, the scandals, they would continue, but for the first time they weren't going to let it dictate their lives. They had to find a way to rebuild, to reconnect, and to face the challenges ahead together. Outside their home, the rumors would continue to swirl, the headlines would keep coming, and the world would keep watching. But inside, Kirk and Rasheeda had made a silent pact. They were going to fight for their marriage, they were going to fight for each other. And that in the end was all that mattered. As the days passed, they both knew that they had a long road ahead of them, but with each step they were slowly finding their way back to each other. And no matter what happened, no matter how difficult the journey, they were ready to face it together as a family. As the dust settles on the drama between Kirk and Rasheeda, the question remains, can they rebuild their shattered relationship? Or is the damage too deep to repair? The world is watching, and the next move could change everything. What do you think? Was Kirk right to react the way he did? Or is Rasheeda justified in her actions? Will her marriage survive? Or is it beyond saving? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Did Kirk and Rasheeda make the right choice? Will they find their way back to each other? Or is this the end of the road for their relationship? Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the updates on this ongoing drama. The story isn't over yet. Stay tuned for more shocking revelations and keep your eyes on the unfolding saga.